what could Singapore as a country teach the Philippines in terms of anti-corruption reforms and systems that you have? Why is your country the least corrupt country? And maybe poetry, and you're very good at arts and literature. You spend a lot of government money supporting the arts. Eric Valles earlier mentioned to me, one of the best art critics in the Philippines, you've already stolen. Now in charge of your National Art Gallery. Same last name as me, Patrick Flores. So maybe you can share something about your anti-corruption success, the systems there, and your art and culture advocacy of your government. Why are you spending a lot of resources on art, culture, poetry?
Singapore, we don't see ourselves as a model for anyone. We do what is right for Singapore and Singaporeans, what will benefit our community. So I don't presume to be able to teach anyone, but our starting point has always been that the government must serve the interests of the people. And that's what elections are for, right? That you have free and fair elections. You choose the right people who will serve your interests. If they don't, you don't elect them the next time. And from the beginning, our government had made it very clear that there's no place for corruption. It's zero tolerance. We put in place the systems, digital or otherwise, to ensure that you cannot steal. You will almost certainly be caught stealing. And also, part of it is we pay people so they have no incentive to steal. But also, there is that ethical code where, especially if you're in government, you're there to serve the people. It's called public service for a reason. And we're guided by that. So I would say that Singapore public servants generally are committed to our duty. We are paid reasonably well, and we all want to see the country succeed, that everyone's lives are uplifted, and that we enjoy good public services. Despite the best efforts, of course, there are always some isolated cases, but they will be found out and they would receive the punishment that they deserve. And so that's how we continue to keep the trust. So I believe that in Singapore, our society works because of a strong relationship between government and people, the high level of trust. It's very important. Trust is the true currency of any government. Takes a long time to build, can collapse easily. So it must be handled with care. So governance, I think good governance is really at the root of it all. And it's inculcated in all of us. It's part of our DNA. But I would not say we're always successful. As I mentioned, there are always isolated cases. So that's all I'll say on that topic. I also believe that the people entrust their futures, their children's futures, to the government, and that is a very heavy responsibility that as public servants we must abide by. Why we spend so much on arts and culture? I think because it's integral to the human condition, right? Being able to reflect and examine your life and expressing it, whether it's through painting, poetry, music, or other forms of art. For in the past, many decades ago, Singapore was seen as a cultural desert. We experienced rapid and high growth, high economic growth, 70s, 80s, you know, people became rich, they were focused on making money, and there was an impression that there wasn't much you can talk about in terms of arts and culture in Singapore. So I think there was also a concerted effort to change that. Therefore, the huge investment in making our museums world-class, in collaborating with partners across the region and globally, supporting our artists. We have a very vibrant poetry scene, you know, despite our small size. You mentioned Patrick Flores. I know Patrick, and I collaborated with Patrick last year to mount an exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, the M. So this is the part where I talk about our relationship. Last year was the 55 years of our diplomatic relations, and to mark that, I mounted an exhibition bringing 8 Filipino artists and 8 Singapore artists. They have all done artist residencies in Singapore, and I brought the works that they completed in Singapore together at the M to be exhibited for 2 months last year, and Patrick Flores was the curator. So I am always amazed by the cultural connections and collaborations we have. There are 200,000 Filipinos working, living, studying in Singapore. It's a large Filipino community, a very vibrant one, and we thank them for always contributing to the fabric of our society. You have made our lives richer. And thank you very much also. I always take the opportunity to thank all the Filipino frontliners, the healthcare workers who stood side by side with Singapore during the COVID pandemic. They could have left, but they didn't. They stayed put and helped us fight the pandemic, standing side by side with us. So for that, I will always be grateful. Thank you.